teaching their kids
Alone, Most High in Christ's blood.
how to misinterpret the Bible at a young age.
Behold, one came and said unto him, Good master, what good thing shall I do?
So stop. So an Israelite is coming up to Christ. He's like, what good thing shall I do?
What good thing shall I do, that I may have eternal life?
So he's asking, he comes up to Christ, he's like, what can I do to enter into the...
And he said unto him, Why callest thou me good? There is none good but one.
So Christ is like, don't call me good, Christ is good. I mean, don't call me good, the Most High is good. Read.
That is God. But if thou wilt enter into life, keep the commandments.
So if you want to, he says, if you want to enter into the kingdom of heaven, you must keep the commandments. So whatever the church told you about, you just have to pray to God, you just have to love God, that's all lies. You have to keep the commandments alone. Most High in Christ's blood.
So teaching them.
I consider Christianity the biggest cult in the world.
Wow.
About 2.3 billion people. Islam's right behind with about 2.1. Here's the difference between Muslims and Christians. I have never seen a Muslim tell me I'm the one who's chosen by God. I've spoke to too many Christians who told me I was chosen by God and I talk to angels. I've had a guy tell me not the other day that he's John the Baptist reincarnated.
Wow.
And he didn't even believe in Christianity until 3 months ago. And he didn't even believe in Christianity until 3 months ago. And he didn't even believe in Christianity until 3 months ago.
Hard to join, but once you do join, then you're typically not allowed to ask any challenging questions of the group or their ideologies. And if you do, or if you fail to live up to the group's standards, then there can be shame cycles where people remain submissive to the leadership because of the bad things that they've done. And then speaking of leadership, cults are often defined by absolutely no transparency in the leadership of the power that they have or the decisions that they make. And I wouldn't be surprised if some people heard this list and they were like, yeah, that sounds exactly like Christianity to me. And if that's what you're thinking, then I just want to remind you of one thing, which is how Jesus lived his life. You see, from the beginning, Christianity was actually criticized for being a movement that was open to everyone. It was collecting the undesirables and the riffraff. But once you were part of the movement, you could ask Jesus anything you wanted. In fact, I think that's when Jesus was at his best. You could see his love and his compassion and his incredible wisdom in the way he answered questions. And he wasn't interested in keeping people down in cycles of shame. In fact, Jesus says, "Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I'll give you rest, because my yoke is easy and my burden is light." And Jesus wasn't interested in staying at the top and keeping all the power for himself, because he says, "I call my followers friends." Sadly, I think that any church and really any organization can act cultish if it's not careful. But I don't think Christianity will if it accurately reflects the heart of Christ.
Mexico Christian cult will spend the rest of her life behind bars for what she did to children on her compound near Gallup. News 13's Jackie Kent was at today's sentencing. She's live at District Court in Grants. Jackie.
Kim, Deborah Green led a cult called the Aggressive Christian Mission Training Corps. She called herself the General and dressed like one. Today she was sentenced after one of her victims gave emotional testimony about what happened on that compound.
Emotionally, she broke me as a child to the point where I still today struggle with my own self-confidence.
Court Judge James Sanchez to give the 71-year-old Green the maximum sentence of 108 years. Instead, he gave her 72 for 3 counts of child rape and kidnapping and child abuse.
It was sort of spooky. Sarian's making his way down now. Very slowly, very Christ-like. And just as Vissarion was about to share some infallible nuggets of wisdom, they made us turn off the camera. After giving a short sermon in hushed tones, Bessarion blessed bread made by the community for the ensuing feast and bid his followers farewell. What can I say? I'm a man of modern convenience. But if it ever gets too much for me, if the scum of humanity becomes so sticky and viscous that I can't scrub it off, I know there's a place where I can drop out and be at peace. And the next time someone complains to me that everything sucks, or our problems are unsolvable, I'll just tell them, there's this place you can go in Siberia, where they'll accept you with open arms. A place where the children run free, where the earth provides everything you need, and where money is.
I want to give all the praises and the honor to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Recha HaKwadash, and double honors to the elder apostles and the bishops of Great Millstone. Honors as well to you, brethren, you fellow believers of this truth in this ministry. That includes shalom to you few sisters, the sincere ones, and this hopefully elect to the elect, shalom. So I saw this video, a short clip with Vocab Malone, and he was talking about how the IUIC trains their children in the truth. And honestly, that's what you're supposed to do. We believe they're off on doctrine, but you are supposed to train up your child. And everybody in every belief has a belief, and everybody trains their so-called children up to believe what they want to believe. I was trained up to be a Christian. I was trained up to believe in white Jesus. I was trained up to be a liar and to believe a lie. If I see a lie, then I believe this lie, then I'm technically a liar myself. So, this is Christianity. It's always lied to us. And number one, with that white Jesus. Number two, throw out the laws. Number three, saying you're nothing but Gentiles. Right? Which we were Gentiles, but our heritage are the true Israelites. So these were all lies. So we're going to also go into some definitions, some online etymology. And first the word cult, they don't even know what that means. They just bring it up. He said it has some unknown origin. Right. Anyway, the one guy said, what did he say? That Jesus called all to him. It didn't matter. He brought you all, and he didn't hide anything from anybody. Where are these Christians getting this from? Again, that's why they learn from us. Matthew 10:5. Let's go to 1. And he had called unto him his 12 disciples. Why did he choose these men of Israelites? Clearly there was other people, right, who were heathens. And he went to, Peter and Andrew. I believe they were fishermen. Surely he could have went to other heathens and called them to be a disciple and an apostle. Surely he could have did that. Right, but why didn't he? It says he gave them power against the unclean spirits to cast them out and to heal the manner of the sickness and all manner of disease. So this is the cut right here. It's all, he listed the 12 tribes from Simon, Peter, to Andrew, his brother, Zebedee, John, his brother, and Bartholomew, all the apostles. Why weren't any of them heathen? Right? Clearly, if he came for everybody, why couldn't he choose them? Now, they might say, well, he chose the Israelites and then used them to go wake up the heathen, but some of them wasn't even woke. So let's go to verse 5. These 12 Jesus, Yahushua, sent forth and commanded them, saying, go not into the way of the Gentiles, and into any city of the Samaritans enter ye not, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Now, the Christians will come back with all the rebuttals, and what about the centurion? Because of racist Christianity, they think that everybody in the Roman army was white or of another nation, when Greek actually means a multitude of nations. There's a multitude of nations practiced in Greek culture. Paul was a Roman citizen. Paul would even consider himself, they would consider Paul a Roman, although he was an Israelite. So you had multitude of nations in the Roman army, right? You had Israelites in the Roman army, and the scholars are now, after what we've been saying, and is admitting that now. But again, this is racism because our people are so broken. We don't think anything better. The first thing we think when we hear Roman, yep, white man. Greek, yep, white man. Well, American, yep, white man. This is how it goes, man. So anyway, let's go to Matthew 13. I'll try to make this quick. 13 and 10. And the disciples came unto him. He said, why speaketh to them in parables? He answered and said unto them, because it is given to you to know the mystery of the kingdom of heaven, but unto them it is not given. So he's telling you right here, he didn't come for everybody, even of his own kind. Now, there's a reason why Jesus was so called from the tribe of Judah. Surely the Lord could have made the Lord come for the tribe and be the tribe of all men. Surely he could have did that. But no, he let it be known that he was a Jew. Mark 12 and 29. Mark 12 and 29. So what's the biggest cult, man? What is the biggest cult? Right? Let me go to this article real quick. Here we go with Jim Jones. In 1931 to 1978 was an American cult leader, Christian by the way. So we see how dangerous Christianity is. Now this man had a whole bunch of people killed, right? But even today, through the rap music, the gun violence, right? And our people was brought up under Christianity, putting crosses on their arms, torture devices, and everything wicked, the wicked root of Jesus Christ, right? That represented Jesus Christ, not the true Messiah, Yahushua, but the wicked root of Jesus Christ. You got gang members with the pictures and the faces of white Jesus on their bodies. You don't see any of us with the pictures of Yahushua stapled on our bodies. You don't see any of us that has woken up, by the way, with crosses stapled and printed on our bodies. You don't see that because we're not supposed to worship those images. We reference certain images. But it was okay for white Jesus to be worshipped and referenced and put up on a pedestal. And then when we came out with the so-called black Messiah, black Jesus, the true Messiah, now it's an issue. But anyway, in what was termed revolutionary suicide, Jones and the members of his inner circle planned an orchestrated mass murder suicide in a remote jungle. You see what they do? You see what they do? In a remote jungle? So basically, again, this is all Christianity. These are all people who are not civilized, taken to a jungle, civilize them, and then kill them. And that's what they did. When you go to the root of Christianity, when you said you were saved, if they asked was you saved, you were literally saved if you believed in that Jesus. And if you didn't, you were killed. Yeah. But all of a sudden, he's been taking them to a remote jungle commune in Jamestown, Guyana. A jungle. But let's look up the word jungle. So you know how racist Christianity is and the people that support it, which is our own people. It says a jungle means a dense growth of trees and other tangled vegetation such that are some regions in Hindu, desert, forest, wasteland, uncultivated ground. That's what it says the word jungle means, right? And extended in 1849, overgrown of vegetations in the wild, tangled mass. That's what they called America. Even though people were living here, the natives were living here, and they said this was uncultivated ground, right? Uncivilized jungle, right? Especially in Africa. So we go to the word forest. It says extensive tree covered district, especially one set aside for royal hunting and under the protection of the king, right, of woodland. So when a slave or when you seen a Jake wandering around in the forest, so to speak, he was hunted. So the difference between a jungle and a forest is nothing, no difference. But the jungle is considered wild and untamed, right? But the forest was about hunting and civilizing. You get the point. It comes from the Germanic forest, and outside, beyond the park, being a main central fence woodland. So really, when you really think about it, Jake would actually have the forest, and Esau would actually be the jungle. Anyway, let's look up this word occult. Secret. Well, let's look up the word cult. Did I look up cult? Worship, homage, particularly the system worship, cultivation, culture, worship, reference. The word, but is revived from the 19th century. The reference of ancient primitive systems, religious belief and worship. You just see worship, especially the rites of ceremonies employed in the worship, extended meaning devoted attention to a particular person or thing. Yes, we're in a cult. Nothing wrong with that. That's why Christians can't bring themselves to believe that you already termed it and deemed it, you Christians, so you got to stay with the word calling us cultic. Yes. Yep, we worship the Messiah, right? We believe, we have a belief system, a religious belief and worship. All it means is worship. But let's see what occultic means. A secret not divulged from the Latin hidden, concealed secret. Look at T.D. Jakes, right? T.D. Jakes has gotten himself into that one Eddie Long, that they called him Eddie Longstroke, that guy. You know, what about the Joel Osteen? What about all these scandals on these pastors and bishops? And don't get it twisted, it's in the Israelite so-called community too. You got a lot of them under that occultic mindset that are set up as well. Not saying that, but at the end of the day, this is not what we follow. Is not an occult. There's nothing concealed. We put it out there all over the internet, right? But they say, the Christians say, the thing with the Christians, they try not to consider themselves a cult because everybody can do what they want. Come as you are, do what you want to hell to do. No laws, right? That's called confusion. That's called Babylon, which goes to confusion. You got to have some form of order, right? They all come and they can worship when you want to worship. There has to be some form of order, which we all worship. We worship all the time, right? But what they do is every Sunday you get up and you are forced to go to church, right? It says in assimilation, right, to hide. They got so much freaky stuff going on in that Christian church, man. To cover, to conceal, meaning to apprehend the mind beyond range of understanding. Anytime you put some goddamn white man or white Jesus with a loincloth painted by Michelangelo, an original picture, they had him naked, and hung him on a cross, and looking at his genitalia and put a sign beside it saying, "He is risen." Yeah, that's in Google. Michelangelo's first picture paintings of him. But of course, for the people, they didn't want to put that up, so they put Caesar in this likeness. So anytime you put up a picture of a man of total deception, who was a murderer and a poisoner, who slept with his own sister, which Rodrigo, the father, I believe I did some research, tag team in and slept with his own daughter, which is Caesar's sister, LaQuisha, and they had orgies. And this is the person you paint up to be the new Jesus and for the so-called black people to follow. and Hispanics and Native Americans. That's who we're to follow. If you can't tell me that's occultic, I don't know what is. You literally lied, and you just didn't put any image of any old man up. You put a picture of a freak up and had us worship him. And you concealed it, and you hid it. And you tell me that's not occultic. But you tell us, you get mad because we train up our children not to go to jail, right? Not to follow the prison system, right? Not to be freaks and to do all these sick, wicked things. Well, it didn't work in Christianity, right? To be healthier, not to eat anything you want to eat. Yeah, but that's what we teaching our children. What would happen if my own children didn't know the truth? Not that everybody's children going to know the truth. You just got to let it go. You might only been called to do it. But if you lead a household and you're able to lead your children, the worst thing that can happen to them is they'll be ridiculed for other people for being different. As long as we go around believing in the lie of a white Jesus, it's acceptable. But when you start telling the truth, it's not. So going back to what this guy said, which Proverbs 22:6 says, train up a child in the way they should go. This guy said that it's not an occult, and all you got to do is believe on Jesus. Well, Jesus would have been considered in a so-called cult. So we can see Christianity is nothing but occultic, right? They destroyed the images, the 1400s, they painted images. They had us believe in Santa Claus, Easter bunnies, and the same people that set up the society, they don't even believe in it. 1 Maccabees 3:48, and laid open the book of the law wherein the heathen has sought to paint the likeness of their images. And then you got this guy Vasario from Russia. That's what? Now he'd adopted that image, and now people are following him, all because of Renaissance art. You tell me that's not madness, lies, and occultic. Anyway, that's all I have on that. Shalom.